What if the most important test of your life didn't come from another human being? What if it arrived quietly, in the mail, from another planet? What if you received a box of strange parts with instructions that made no sense, and the device that, once you put it together, seems to work just a little too well? What would you do? Well, in this film, the second you finish building that device, someone, or something, is waiting for you on the other side. And by the time you realize what you've agreed to, it's a little too late to back out. Fantasy, sci-fi, nostalgia, reruns of it.
What have you got?
I don't know. There's no return address.
There's something wonderful about 1950 science fiction movies. These films didn't just suggest that the universe was big and strange. They stated it as fact. They handed you a lab coat and expected you to keep up. This Island Earth is one of the best examples of that attitude. Released in 1955, right in the heart of the atomic age, this film doesn't start with screaming crowds or cities in flames. It opens with a scientist, a mystery, and a test so subtle you don't even realize it's happening. This isn't a movie about invasion. It's a movie about recruitment. And you're the one being recruited, like it or not. Adapted from the 1952 novel This Island Earth by Raymond F. Jones, the story follows Cal Meacham, a brilliant electronics engineer. The kind of man 1950 science fiction loved. Calm under pressure, impeccably dressed, and always ready for a good challenge. One day, Cal receives a shipment of strange electronic components in the mail. No return address, no explanation, just instructions. Cal doesn't panic. He doesn't call the authorities. He doesn't even ask who sent it. He just builds it. The device turns out to be something called an interositor. The interositor was designed to look mechanical and industrial, not sleek or futuristic, to make it feel like it was buildable by a human scientist. Its design has made it one of the most recognizable gadgets in 1950s sci-fi, often cited as a visual ancestor to later sci-fi communication devices. The word interocitor was invented specifically for the film and has no actual scientific meaning. Once activated, it lets Cal communicate face-to-face with a mysterious man with a large head named Exeter. This is where the film starts to pivot. Exeter isn't threatening or dramatic. He's calm, polite, professional even.
You have successfully accomplished your task, Dr. Meacham. You've assembled an interocitor, a feat of which few men are capable.
Who are you?
I'm called Exeter. I'm a scientist like yourself.
Soon, Cal learns he's not alone. Other scientists around the world have been quietly selected, tested, and brought together at a remote research facility. They think they're working on advanced projects to benefit humanity. But of course, that's not the whole truth. Instead of treating scientists as victims or fools, the film treats them as valuable resources. At the center of it all is Exeter, whose calm demeanor starts to crack just enough to suggest that whatever's happening isn't entirely under his control either. Exeter is one of the most fascinating elements of the film. He's not a monster. He's not a villain in the traditional sense. He's just an administrator, a middle manager, so to speak, for the end of the world. And when the truth finally comes out that his people's planet Metaluna is dying, the story takes a turn that feels surprisingly thoughtful for 1955. The Metalunans, you see, don't want to conquer the Earth. They want help. They want knowledge. They want to survive.
Allow me to welcome you. I'm sorry that our visit below had to be terminated so dramatically, but time allowed for nothing else. I can assure you we mean you no harm.
Like Steve Carlson and Engelbart, like the others in that house?
What happened was beyond my control.
What happened was mass murder.
Eventually, Cal and his companion are taken beyond Earth and this is where the film fully embraces its sci-fi identity. We get flying saucers, energy weapons, alien architecture, and yes, we get the Metaluna Mutant. Today, it's the image most people associate with the film, even if they've never seen it. What's fascinating is that the mutant wasn't originally intended to be the film's most famous element. It was just one part of a much larger visual design. But its bold look, the oversized head, the bulging eyes, the exposed brain, it struck a nerve with audiences who were aligned with 1950s anxieties about radiation, mutation, and uncontrolled scientific progress. It made the Metaluna Mutant one of the most enduring sci-fi images of the 1950s, and the film treats it quite seriously. That sincerity is what keeps it from becoming a joke. In 1955, this wasn't silly at all. This was astonishing. The design is bold and unforgettable. It looks like something pulled straight from a comic book cover, and that's exactly why it works. The planet Metaluna was created using a combination of large-scale sets, miniatures, and matte paintings, a classic Hollywood approach before extensive rear projection or optical compositing. The visual style of Metaluna emphasizes order, symmetry, and engineering, reinforcing the idea of an advanced but rigid civilization. Many of the exterior shots relied on painted backdrops blended with foreground miniatures, a technique Universal had refined through fantasy and horror films in earlier decades. A big reason this island Earth still holds up is its use of color and its visual effects. Universal treated this as a prestige science fiction production, and it shows. It was filmed in Technicolor and promoted as a major film release. The matte paintings, optical effects, and Technicolor photography give the film a richness many low-budget sci-fi movies of the era just couldn't afford. It made it one of the studio's most ambitious sci-fi films of the decade. Metaluna feels like a place, not just a backdrop. And for audiences in 1955, this wasn't just escapism, it was a glimpse of a possible future. The film originally premiered as the top feature of a double bill, paired with Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. It reflected how studios still packaged sci-fi during the mid-1950s. Classic TV fans get a bonus here. Russell Johnson appears years before he became forever known as the professor on Gilligan's Island. Seeing him here feels like spotting an old friend before they found their most famous role. This island Earth is remembered because it took science seriously. It treated its audience with respect, and it presented the unknown not as pure horror, but as a complicated moral question. Even today, the film feels like a time capsule from an era when science fiction believed the future could be understood, if only the right people were allowed to build the machine. Contemporary reviews praised the film's visual effects and color cinematography, even though some critics were mixed on the story itself. This island Earth is often cited as one of the most visually impressive American sci-fi films of the mid-1950s. The movie has received multiple restorations over the years and high-quality home video releases, which show its continued importance as a classic sci-fi film. Some science fiction films age poorly, but This Island Earth becomes a reminder of a time when curiosity was heroic, when intelligence was the ultimate superpower, and when the future arrived not with explosions, but with a cardboard box and a full set of instructions and the quiet hum of a machine you probably shouldn't have turned on. But somehow, we're all glad that they did. If you love these classic films like I do, let's do our best to keep them alive. This is Rich from Rerun Zone. Thanks for watching, and good night.